Is there anybody there?
What's up, Dad Hat Crew? Ed here, and on this episode, I give you guys a little bit something a little different for you guys. We are talking college football playoff ranking. That's right. This is actually from my show, the Dad Hat Chronicles Sports Show, with Donnie, Wise, Patrick, Larson, and myself. This week, honestly, this was on Sunday night, and I felt that it was a good way to really give you guys a little bit of a preview of what the Dad Hat Chronicles Sports Show is all about, right? This is just a part of it, but I wanted to show you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy it. We talked about Florida State mostly, right? Not being included in the college football playoff rankings, top four, right? How they got gypped on that one. It was a really good conversation. We read some of the comments from the guys that watched. So thank you very much for doing that. So, but yeah, guys. So without further ado, I'll give you the episode. All righty, gentlemen. Welcome to a special edition of the Dad Hat Chronicles Sports Show. I am obviously Ed Rivera, and with me are my two good friends, the mayor himself, Mr. Donnie Wise himself, sporting a very beautiful Carolina Panthers dad hat and that 3/4 zip up. Man, it's a beautiful thing, my friend. It is a beautiful thing. And of course, I got my good friend Patrick Larson, the prospector himself. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. We got a lot to discuss. We probably all have some really strong opinions going either way. So ready to get into it.
That's right. Donnie, how was your time so far in Ohio before we get started, my friend?
Well, in the matter of today, so Wednesday I got here was 19 degrees. It's actually been fairly mild the rest of the week. But today, over the course of about an hour and a half, we had the combination of lightning and thunder, followed by heavy rain and then hail.
Yep.
Then sunshine came out, then heavy rain and some more hail. Then the wind started blowing like a tornado was coming, which I was really nervous about because yesterday was the first of the month, and apparently they do tornado warning signal tests on the first Saturday of every month. And I was wondering if they tested it because they knew something was coming. So it was an eventful afternoon.
Welcome to Ohio.
Exactly. You got everything in like a 2-hour span.
Yep. I'm surprised you didn't get any snow.
Right. That I thought we might get that, but it hasn't gotten cold enough for snow. And I don't think it will until maybe, well, it says snow flurries now outside. It's 42 degrees.
It's Ohio. Like I said, it's Ohio.
I haven't looked outside. I've been in here for 2 hours. So
Phil wants to know if any luck of finding any some sweet tea on that. Doubt it. Not in Ohio.
Unfortunately, Phil's not going to like my answer to this, but I've been drinking unsweet tea for about 18 years without sweetener. So tried to cut back on sugar one day, and I just learned to love tea without sugar. So I'm born and raised in the South on Southern tea, but I love unsweet tea now.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, my friend. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, man.
I don't like sweet tea anyway, so.
See, I do. So.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Lynn.
And Brett, obviously. Yep. All right. So, gentlemen, let's just get into it, right? Because obviously there was, we were texting yesterday, right? Throughout the day as the games were going on, and where, I'm one of them that I just wanted chaos. I'll be honest with you. I wanted chaos from the get-go just because it makes it for good, wonderful, obviously. Some good discussion from like people that we do this now, right? So I was like, all right, let's do this. You know what I mean? But there's something that I was, and I'm gonna put the screen here real quick so that way everybody can see. So we thought, right, after everything that happened is, all right, so Michigan going to be number one, right? I mean, they won the Big Ten. It wasn't pretty by any means at all. Like, it was not a pretty game, right? Washington, that was a great game. That Washington-Oregon game was amazing. That was a great game. Texas blew out that team. I mean, there was just no if or about it. Like, I mean, Texas, they knew. So, like, we were so, like, ready to go for that. And then, of course, you got into that Georgia-Alabama game. And, I was texting also Mike Sellers, who's a big Georgia Bulldogs fan. He was like, I'm nervous. And I'm like, you should be worried. You should be nervous. Alabama came to play. But I didn't think that Alabama being at 8 was going to be making that big of a jump because Florida State took care of business. Right? Florida State did what they were supposed to do. They went in there, they handled their business on a third string quarterback or whatever you want to call it. And what ended up happening was, to me, Florida State got robbed.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Florida State essentially got punished for Travis's injury, and for him being out for the season, and then Rodemaker being out for that game. Whereas I think you should look at it in terms of FSU played with real heart. It's not like Louisville was an unranked team. Louisville was ranked in the top 25, and so the fact that they played with the heart that they did, their defense played a championship level defense, and the fact that you're punishing them because they don't have the quarterback that made them have a really prolific offense, to me, is unfounded. And to me, a tiebreaker with a conference champion should be, is it an undefeated conference champion, or is it a conference champion with a loss? And
that should have been the tiebreaker right there.
Yeah.
That should have been it.
Yeah, 100%. But I think that the committee has such a love affair with the SEC, and this is coming from someone who roots for a team within the SEC, that I think they have such a love affair with the SEC that they felt like they couldn't. They used that out of the best teams in the country, which that's such a subjective thing when you talk about the best teams in the country.
Yeah.
What factors do you use to determine best? That to me is when you rate. To me, they rate offense over defense, because to me, Florida State has one of the best defenses in the country, and they proved it the other night. And so I think that Florida State essentially got punished because they had a massive injury to a key player.
Go ahead, Donnie. I want to hear from you as well.
Well, two things. One, at 10:20 last night, I called it almost exactly to what it is right now.
Yeah.
I put Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama, and I said if FSU wins, they'll be 5, Georgia will be 6. I had Oregon at 7 instead of Ohio State. And then I said if Louisville wins, it'll be Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State, because I thought they'd drop Florida State pretty good. And I think, Patrick, you said if FSU wins, I think they have to be in. And you were right. I mean, the more I thought about it, I was like, you're right. And I'm not saying they should be out. I'm just saying they will be out. And
right. There's a difference between knowing
right.
what the committee was going to do and knowing what the right thing to do was.
Right.
And I think we need to say it straight. Donnie was right and I was wrong. I mean, the prediction was right. And it's just I usually let my heart of what I think should happen go into my predictions. And so, to be clear, you were absolutely right. You were absolutely right.
But I do have to say, I did come back about an hour later when FSU was making a really, nice fourth quarter run on some things. They weren't scoring a lot of points, but they had a lot more energy. And I think I came back and I said, now I'm revising to Michigan, Washington, Florida State, and Alabama, because I thought they can't leave Florida State out after I thought about it and after Florida.
Yeah. Here's something that really bugs me, right? Because, and this is something that we've been talking about, that Florida State went undefeated. They did what they were supposed to do. And if anything tells you, if anything tells you what they did was like they lost their starting quarterback and they didn't miss a beat. Right? They didn't miss a beat. They kept going. They kept doing what they were supposed to do. And then you're penalizing them because of a quarterback. I mean, that is like the most, and pardon my language, but that is the most asinine excuse I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Well, and I heard the chair of the committee
it goes back to what Patrick said. I mean, the SEC, they had the favoritism with the SEC. There's no way they're going to have a playoff without an SEC team. And that's wrong, but that's what I think it boils down to.
And also, I think that earlier in the week, the committee kept saying It may not be the top teams, but they kept using that best teams. So they wanted to have that out in case this.
Oh, they were setting
played out.
themselves up for this very scenario.
And the thing is, and this was the reason that I heard the chairman of the committee say, they said that FSU is not the same team now that they were through the first 11 weeks of the season. And what they were referencing was Travis as the quarterback. And I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm saying that's what the chairman of the committee said.
Yeah, but they look like idiots because they're the ones who rank Florida State ahead.
Right. Well, that shows you the value they put on Travis as a QB, because they were talking about they're basically not as a dynamic offense, and they thought without Travis that they would get annihilated in the college football playoff. I mean, that's essentially what they were suggesting, in my opinion.
Yeah, but they've had teams that are non-SEC teams win, and like in regular season, like win a game and drop, and because it was a close game against somebody. Georgia barely got by like South Carolina, and it didn't affect anything. And I know that's way early in the season, but that has to say something too. Like you should have taken that into account back in the beginning a little bit when they first did the first poll. I know that happened before that, but it's like they overrate. I'm not trying to get on a soapbox about the overrating of the SEC, but I'm just saying they do have some of that in that bias in everything they do. And because they love SEC, they love them some Notre Dame, they love them some Southern California, and it doesn't matter if they're bad or not. They want them in there if they can get them in there. They do everything they can to get Notre Dame in every year.
And listen, let's not forget that Alabama, yes, only one loss, but they almost lost to Auburn, an unranked Auburn, right? So I mean, they should have lost that game. They should have lost. They got some really bad losses, and you're telling me that you're still ranking them higher? That's like, Lynn, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Yep. She's not wrong.
No, money and right there.
And the other thing is that people who are suggesting that the other argument I've heard is that Florida State didn't play anybody. I forget exactly how many, but they played at least 3 teams that I can think of that at one point were in the top 25. So don't tell me that they didn't play anybody. It's not like they played, a bunch of junior colleges or community colleges and in their 100%, schedule. 100%. I mean, at one point, Miami was ranked. Louisville was ranked when they played them.
And Louisville was ranked, when they played them in the championship.
And I don't care how poor Florida was this year. A rivalry game is a rivalry game. They went into Gainesville and into the swamp and got a big win with a backup quarterback, mind you. So that to me is even more of a quality win. And like I said, I don't care how poor Florida was this year as a team. In a rivalry game, records and form go out the window because
I agree.
Let's look at the Alabama-Auburn game. Everyone expected Alabama to run roughshod over Auburn, and it came down to Auburn's failure to execute to basically gift Alabama the win. Mm-hmm. So it's they're just inconsistent with their reasoning to me. And while I know it's an unenviable task to be on that committee because there was one fan base that you were going to make upset, I still don't agree with their line of reasoning but it's like Lynn said, it's all about money because they wanted to see like a Michigan game. They wanted to see, and there was really no way that they could keep, after beating Oregon twice, there was absolutely no way they could keep Washington out. But I think there's also an argument about not many people have talked about Texas. I mean, the way Texas got in is essentially because they beat Alabama for me.
Right.
Because if you're going to include Alabama, you have to include Texas.
Yeah. As soon as Texas won, I was like, I had that feeling. I'm like, man, in the back of my head, I'm like, Florida State is going to get screwed on this one.
Yep.
The most justifiable, like going back to what they're like, you're not going to please everybody. You're going to piss off somebody's fan base. But the most justifiable thing was to not have an SEC team in there. Alabama beat Georgia, fine. Alabama's ranked 8th. They shouldn't jump to 4 just because they won that game, especially after they almost lost to Auburn. They knocked Georgia out. Florida State shouldn't have dropped. And Texas should be in the 4 slot because they won their championship and beat Alabama.
Hey, I was just gonna say that. If anything, it would have been Florida moving up to number 3, and then Texas moving up to that 4th spot.
Exactly.
At that point, I would have been like, "There it is. It was done right. If that's exactly what it is. Put Alabama 5. I don't care."
Right.
But the fact
If
that
you're
you just jumped them like that much, it's insane.
Yeah, and if they're worried about the
I
quality
love
of
this
Florida
comment, by the
State,
way, by Eric. Alabama got into strength of beating Chattanooga a few weeks ago.
exactly. I mean, so if they're worried about Florida State not being what they once were earlier in the season, well, they still finished out the season beating Power 5 conference opponents, regardless of how good or bad they are. Alabama beat Auburn. They should have lost that game. Auburn's not that great a team. What's the difference of them beating Auburn versus Florida State beating somebody in the ACC that's not a great ACC team? Alabama, Georgia, LSU, a lot of them, when they're in the top of the going into the playoffs, who do they play their last 3 or 4 games? If it's not one of those cupcake games that the SEC always schedules before the big rivalry games, it's usually the lesser competition of the conference to begin with. And that happens in all conferences. I'm not singling out SEC. But at the same time, they're penalizing Florida State because they're like, oh, we can't have, a team get blown out. Well, if you had Florida State at number 3, I think Florida State Washington would be a fantastic game, and I think Michigan Texas would be a fantastic game. I think right now they got pretty good games too, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I hope Michigan beats the ever loving crap out of Alabama. I don't know if they will, but I hope they do. And I'd love to see Florida State beat Georgia.
And that's that. I was just going to say this, right? I think that the committee wanted a team to go in there. And I think the whole thing is to prevent Michigan from winning the championship.
Well,
yeah.
And here's another thing. Look at Michigan's resume compared to Florida State's. Can you really tell me that Michigan's it
is a shitty schedule that they play
for Michigan to be 1? I mean, is their resume that much more impressive than what Florida State did in winning out? Or are you saying that because they didn't have a quarterback that got injured? Is that the only difference? Because Michigan's quality wins are like it was against Ohio State and Penn State. I guess Penn State's considered, with their ranking is considered a real quality win, but and Ohio State being up there all season, but that to me was based essentially on reputation.
That's what it was.
But Florida State beat a Clemson, which if you want to go for name recognition, who's been one of the most consistently successful programs of the last 10 years, Clemson being one of them.
Yep.
You beat Miami. I know Miami hasn't been great, but Miami's been better in recent years. I said Louisville. You beat Florida. You beat 2 SEC teams. You beat Florida and LSU. And LSU, while not elite this year, had the most prolific offense in the nation by about 50 yards per game, and they finished 9-3. So and not only did Florida State beat them, they beat them handily. So that was not like that was not a last play of the game. I think it was like 44-21 or something along those lines.
Yep.
I mean, so that was a quality win over a ranked opponent. So,
go ahead, Donnie.
I was like, I remember when that game happened because Clemson was, they were stumbling over their own feet before that. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting here thinking when that game happened, I even said to my Clemson buddies on our text chats, like, is LSU like really overrated and that bad, or is Florida State that good? We were trying to figure it out. And then it's like, well, we'll find out when they play us. Hopefully we'll get our stuff together. Of our 4 losses, we beat ourselves in 3 of those. Florida State beat us. The other ones, we beat ourselves. I mean, we made mistakes against Florida State too. But
Florida State is a dominant team.
Yeah, the other 3 losses that we had were really just us shooting ourselves in the foot multiple times more than we did against Florida State. Florida State was legit. And again, they had Travis at quarterback, so that was different. But they're still a good team. I mean, the fact that Norval's down to his 3rd-string quarterback and they haven't lost yet, that says a lot too. And that should be taken into consideration by the committee.
Couple things here. One, Eric, I did see that tweet from him. He says, like, did you read the tweet Travis posted today? He apologized and said he wished he would have broken his leg early in the season to prove the team is good enough to win without him. 100%. Another one, Johnny. The playoff is made for TV event. Michigan versus Alabama brings in viewers, 2 big brands. like Lynn said, it's about the money. And then Zach Beeson on my Twitter right now is telling me as he's watching, what's up, Zach? Donnie is right. Let's be real. It's SEC Invitational. Committee was too scared to tell the SEC no. And by the way, I want to give a shout out. This is my uncle right here, Luis Vidal. That's my uncle. His kids went to Florida State. The big Florida State fans. So you're making all good points. How about FSU winning the ACC championship with a third quarterback? How many of the top 4 teams would have won the third streak? 100% right there.
Yeah.
That's 100%. That's what we've been saying. You're telling me that you had the starting quarterback break his leg, and then the team did not even flinch. They kept going. They kept playing. They kept winning, and they were dominant in that ACC championship against Louisville. Don't tell me about Louisville not being a good team. They were a good team most of the year. Yeah. That's why they made it to the ACC championship.
Yeah, and losing them for the biggest games of the season, because where the rubber meets the road is that conference championship game. It's that rivalry game at the end of the season. Like, I have a coworker who's a big Florida State fan, and she bases the season on whether or not Florida State can beat Florida. And they did that with a backup QB going into Gainesville, which, I don't care who you are.
Swamp is ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't care who you are. That is a tough environment to go into and win, particularly when you're not at full strength. So I think Mike Norvell is one of the most underrated coaches in the nation, and one of the most underappreciated coaches in the nation. And I say put some respect on his name, and more importantly, put some respect on Florida State's name, because they had an outstanding season, and no one can take, even if they don't make the playoff, no one can take away the fantastic season they had.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I saw it, and I got to look for this tweet, which was awesome because it says emergency playoff. Right? Have the top 2 teams be on a bye, right? And then, have, like we were talking about, the other 2, like, 5 and 6, be then at that point, play, the other 2 teams, and then boom, off we go. So I would have loved to see that, because that would have been Florida State, and that would have been Oregon, right? Oregon still makes it. And then they play against, obviously, listen, I'm a fan of Oregon. I've always liked that team, but they were not up to par to Washington. Washington was a better team this year. It's just, and Penix, I think he's going to be the Heisman candidate for this one. So,
yeah.
Well, and I mean, this is how good Washington was. They weren't expected to beat Oregon either time, and they beat them both times. So that's how good they were.
Zach, weird how Florida State quarterback getting hurt was an issue with the committee. Where was that energy when Ohio State wanted all the third string quarterback Cardale Jones? Interesting, because they made it with the third string quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, the second bias of the committee is the Big Ten. As far as the committee is concerned,
listen, I'm from Big Ten country.
College football is SEC, Big Ten. Everybody else is just kind of there.
Yep.
They only care about that because, again, like everybody else has been saying on here, it's about the money. It's about the national ratings. They want Big Ten viewers. They want SEC viewers, and they want Southern Cal and Notre Dame. Southern Cal is West Coast to them. Notre Dame is nationwide to them. SEC is the South. Big Ten is the North. That's what they want.
I'm just waiting for Notre Dame to finally say, okay, we're joining the SEC. I'm waiting for that, or you know what I mean? Just waiting for that.
And they're not. They're not going to do it because they don't have to.
Nope.
They don't.
Nope.
And
they can get their own TV
deal. What I don't understand with their deal with NBC is I've never watched a Notre Dame game on NBC. Like, I've seen Notre Dame play, but when they play in an ACC team and they're on ACC. Like, how many games do they actually have on NBC?
That's good.
I mean, I don't know, but that's always a sticking point. It's like, oh, well, we got this NBC contract, and NBC's paying all this money for Notre Dame football, but how many weeks do they actually show them? I haven't really counted it, to be honest with you.
Maybe it's on NBC Sports Plus, or that NBC Sports Plus Gold, or whatever they call it.
Yeah, or maybe it's Peacock. I don't know.
There it is, $8 a year. Oh, that's right. But you got to pay for Peacock when you do watch all those sports. So and I want to go ahead and again put these the rankings back up so you guys can see, because I really love this one right here, boys. Is the college playoff rankings and the top 25, and look at the difference in the 4 and 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Eric, I watch them on NBC every week. It's regular NBC. Again, it's Notre Dame.
Man, the influencer trying to bring people to watch Notre Dame viewers.
Yeah, look at him.
Look
He's
at the
trying to influence
influencer.
people, right?
Man.
Isn't he supposed to be watching this Green Bay game? Get off of here.
Yeah, he's supposed. Well, I think he's in Vegas. Trying to watch the game. Darn it.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you watching, my friend. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Just put the game on the
We do
side.
appreciate you, Eric.
Shout out, though. Green Bay playing really good against Kansas City. They're up 14-3.
And not to pat us on the back so far, but did we or did we not all of us pick the Packers in that one?
Let me check.
I believe we did.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
I believe. Yes, we did. So does that mean we know ball?
We all picked the Browns. How that one?
We're getting better.
Wah, wah.
We are.
We are getting better. I like it. It's all about improving, right? As long as we lose these early games like Alabama did early in the year, that's what that's what counts. If you lose them late, forget it.
And I completely messed that up. The influence is on here. I'm sorry. Packers.
He just told us not to jinx it, so let's not do that. But and so again, I have no issues with Michigan. I have no issues with Washington being ranked, right? No issues at all with those rankings because they did it. They did their thing. Texas, I don't have an issue with Texas being in the top 4. I just have an issue with them being 4.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
With being number 3, I mean, they should be number 4 with Florida State moving up to number 3. Again, it's just one of those things. It's just you win, you go undefeated again, the first time ever an undefeated team and win a conference to not be included in the playoffs.
Yeah, at least a Power 5. I mean, we can also name Liberty. Liberty was 13-0 as well, and they'll get to play. What are they going to play? Oregon, I think.
Yes,
playing Oregon.
How is that even? We're going to talk on that. Like we're going to talk about some of these, but like, are you kidding me? Like how? Again, no offense to Liberty, none whatsoever. But you telling me you're going to pin him with Oregon?
Yeah, I don't get that. They're so far down. Like, how in the world did they get that game match?
Liberty is number 23.
Yeah.
I mean, Clemson would be a better opponent in that bowl game, to be honest with you.
If they're going with the money wise and everything, right? Going head to head.
I think what Virgil said is correct. Yeah.
They're the G5 team. They get one slot. Yeah. Again,
he's right.
He is right.
I mean, think of how many other years, if you had anybody in Georgia's position in any other conference, and they lost their conference championship game to their opponent who was ranked 7 or below. Any other conference, they're not moving into that playoff.
No,
it's just not happening. Like that just makes no sense.
And then
I guarantee you, if Clemson would have been ranked number 1 and we would have lost to North Carolina, who was ranked number 9, there's no way North Carolina is going to be the number 4 team in the playoff. They would put a Big 12 team in or whatever. It just doesn't work the other way with any of the other conferences.
I don't know.
It's sad.
Lynn has a good question. Will the Ducks be bummed to have to play Liberty? A letdown?
Well, I will say this.
They will.
I think
they'll show.
Yeah,
I think they'll show, and I think they're going to. I feel bad for any team going against Oregon right now.
Yeah, I think they will feel let down, but I think they'll respect Liberty because we've also seen precedent of like this. Let's say the Central Floridas of the world that people came up against, and Central Florida's won in the New Year's Day game.
Appalachian State when they went up to Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, so like I don't think you can take Liberty lightly. I think that
and what they've done at Liberty, let me tell you, dude, that's awesome. Good for them.
And I think they can give Oregon a game, but I think that Oregon's going to be motivated because they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. So I think it's going to be a good game.
The tell will be how many Oregon players have that this is it for them that opt out of this game because it's Liberty.
Right.
Because if there's a lot of them that opt to not play the bowl game, that tells you where their mindset's at.
Oh, wow, Eric. As Zach about Boise State and a letdown. Yes, true story.
Shots fired.
Is he throwing shots from Vegas there? What?
Right, man, he is. I mean, he is just rolling deep on this one today, man. Look at him.
Listen, in honor of Las Vegas and what the kids say today, bet.
So, so let's talk a little bit about these bowl games, right? Because now we're going to get into these interesting. And by the way, isn't it wonderful to have bowl season? Let's be honest about that, right? Like, I mean, bowl season is amazing. And I cannot wait for that. That's like, you're watching a game, in 11 a.m. Like, I mean, I'm going to put it right now so that you guys can see this. But this is the one time a year where, like, it doesn't matter who's playing. You're like, oh yeah, we're going to definitely watch that. So like, Georgia Southern going against the MAC school, in Conway, South Carolina, and Brooks Stadium right there, 11 o'clock on a Saturday. Boom, done. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Let's go. Yeah, my boss is a big Georgia Southern fan, so she gets to watch them in the illustrious Myrtle Beach Bowl.
On the teal field.
Some of these names are hilarious. Some of these bowl games.
Oh my gosh. We're too late to do it now. We should have done is it a real or is it a fake bowl name?
Yeah, it's a true story. We should have done it. You know what? We'll put it for next year. Pin it for next year's show right before they do the announcements, right?
And I've got candidates for 2 more bowls next year: the Mayor's Bowl in Columbia, South Carolina, and then the Dad Hat Bowl in Apex, North Carolina.
Brother, when the Dad Hat Chronicles takes off, and I'm gonna put a bowl. I'm like, it has to be like I'm gonna make it honor, like do like the MAC schools, just so I can go to see one of my MAC schools.
Kent State's going to be participating in the DHC Sports Show
every year.
The DHC Sports Show.
I don't care if they go, and everything. But look at these games: Avocados from Mexico Cure Bowl.
Yep. It used to be the humanitarian.com Cure Bowl.
Oh my God. Donnie, the MVB in Conway is just down the road. Go check it out. Lynn's telling you right there.
Oh yeah. I mean, if I was home that weekend, it would be worth considering. They haven't really had a
I think Donnie just cut off there, but they got the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl.
Yep.
Famous Toastery Bowl.
All right.
Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl.
Hey, we have a Scooters Coffee down the road.
Roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl.
Man.
Union Home Mortgage, the 76 Birmingham Bowl.
And look at Troy.
Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. That one I knew right there.
Hey, Georgia State, let's go.
Georgia State, the famous Potato Bowl, baby.
That's right.
Wrigley Field.
Potatoes.
These two host the bowl game. Wasn't the Yankees the Pinstripe Bowl?
Yep.
Yeah.
Virgil, bring back the Weed Eater Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Reality Quest Bowl. I love it. Let's see what else. 68 Ventures Bowl, the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl.
Man, I love how the Sun Belt Conference has so much representation. They were so even this year. They were either all like 6-6 or 7-5. I think Troy was about the only one that really had a really good record. Them and James Madison. Everybody
the Quick Lane Bowl. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see.
How did Minnesota get in at 5-7? Big Ten love. Big Ten love.
It's Big Ten. Yeah, they're allowed. The Big Ten has so many slots. So,
Old Dominion down the street from Norfolk Tide. There it is.
There you go.
It could be the Wrigley Freeze Your Fanny Ball. I love it, Lynn.
So I know we haven't gotten there yet, but I'm seeing down the line an Eric Profit versus Josh Whipple Bowl.
I love it. Let's take a look here. We're going to get there eventually. But Guaranteed Rate Bowl, the Military Bowl, presented by GoBowling.com. Duke's Mayo Bowl. This is one of the grossest things that they do. It's just like with mayo for everything.
Hey, I like the Duke's Mayo mascot though.
So, isn't that like the can? The whole thing? Yeah.
The can.
It's
one of the more entertaining bowls, to be honest with you.
True. That is true. They do make fun of it. They know what their brand, which is
they push it.
They push it. I love it. DirecTV Holiday Bowl, the Texas Bowl. Oh, I love this one. Wasabi Fenway Bowl.
Ironic that
man, they're
Boston
doing it
College got an
Fenway
invite
now.
to the Fenway Bowl.
Bad boy mowers. There it is. Pinstripe Bowl.
The Pop-Tarts Bowl. Let's go.
You know, honestly though, I kind of want to see that just because I love Pop-Tarts.
Please tell me they're going to have the pop. So do I.
Oh,
I'm
did
hoping
you
I'm hoping they have a Pop-Tarts mascot.
Yes.
No, you haven't heard. They are. They're actually going to have an edible mascot, and the players at the end of the game get to break off. They get to break off a piece of the Pop-Tart mascot.
Mr. Mayor, did you make that happen?
Mayor
No, I didn't, but that's pretty daggone awesome.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I think you had some sway and made that happen, and we appreciate it as viewers.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Mr.
A
Mayor.
matchup of 2 6-6 teams should be played in the Earned Fun Average Bowl in Wichita. Average is what these schools do best.
Please make that happen, Johnny.
That would be
Good,
awesome.
That was good, Johnny.
Right on point, my friend. And then
Georgia
Zach,
State can make that bowl every year, Johnny.
oh my God, that would be so good. Duke's Mayo is the greatest mayonnaise ever invented. Slow your roll there, Sunshine.
I'm with you, Zach.
I'm not a fan. Lynn Smith just laughing, because obviously we're looking up all these wonderful bowl games, and Johnny just with those wonderful stories here. The Alamo, Valero already know that one. The Tech Slayer Gator Bowl, Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. I love that one.
Ooh, so is that going to be great?
No, probably not. AutoZone Liberty Bowl, of course. Ohio State playing the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic
against Missouri.
Mizzou. Yeah. There's another Big Ten. I wonder how many, who has the biggest number of schools going into the bowl games. I've seen a lot of Big Ten. There's one right there, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Penn State. Auburn 6-6 against Maryland 75. Another Big Ten. Trends Perfect Music City Bowl.
Yep.
Georgia, Florida State. That is going to be a good game, guys.
I'm looking forward to that game.
The Orange Bowl. Toledo, Wyoming, the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl. Let's see.
Barstool Sports is sponsoring the bowl game.
Oh yeah, they did it last year too.
Of course. I gotta be honest. I mean, LSU and Wisconsin are like my two teams. Wisconsin and LSU are like my two teams that aren't the Georgia State. So I'm really looking forward to that game.
Another Big Ten, by the way. There it is.
Yep.
And if you want to go with now and future Big Ten, Oregon, a Big Ten, the Verbo Fiesta Bowl, Tennessee, Iowa. Oh, there it is. Another Big Ten.
That's going to be a shootout, Iowa and Tennessee.
Woo! Barn burner. Alabama, Michigan, ESPN, 5 p.m. The semifinal, Rose Bowl. Drink a shot when your team scores until you fall off your bar stool.
Nice.
And then Texas and Washington, obviously the Sugar Bowl. So some interesting, but you know what though, guys, we haven't even talked about, and I'm sure we'll do it next week on Tuesday. The 1AA. Now that's where it's at.
Yeah.
North Dakota State, South Dakota State, right? These teams right there, they're going at it. Albany.
Delta State.
Huh?
Delta State's always one to watch out for.
Yeah, Zach. No, Kent State's not there. They're in the Dad Hat Chronicles bowl game.
That's right.
Not there yet.
They quietly went 14-0. They just didn't want anybody to know about it.
Yeah,
they went one extra to show everybody else up.
When it comes to spirit, my friend, Kent State can read, can write, Kent State, baby.
Hey, with spirit, they're 15-0.
That's right. That's right.
They have a couple bonus wins.
Favorite Pop-Tart flavor? Ooh.
I like the strawberry. I won't lie. The frosted strawberry.
If you go with the classic, right? Strawberry, but with the frosted on top. Yeah, I'm good there.
I'm blueberry. Blueberry with the frosting.
Oh, blueberry's a good one. But you know what's another
blueberry and royal and mayor? That all goes together. I can see that.
I can see. Yeah, I know, right? It's a royal color. Blueberry.
It is a royal color for the royal mayor himself.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I like it. But another good one is the was it the s'mores one?
Ooh, good call.
Yeah, that is good.
Good call.
That's a good one.
The Dad Hat knows Pop-Tarts.
Oh, I know my Pop-Tarts. I know my Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts
Yep.
are delicious.
I said you got quality taste in Pop-Tarts, my friend.
There you go,
There it
Zach.
is.
S'mores Pop-Tops forever.
Zach knows Pop-Tarts.
Like I said, boom. Look, Eric
Eric.
Prophet, s'mores.
Drop that mic.
Like I said, let me. I'm
Boom.
not gonna drop it all the
There
way
it
because
is.
then I don't want to break
There it
one of my
is.
favorite microphones. I just
please don't hurt.
Yeah, don't do that.
Oh, here's Rhonda.
Look at Rhonda. Look at Rhonda. Oh, come on, classic cherry.
Oh,
You're about to get into some battles right here, some marital battles. You going with Blue and she's going with Cherry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Our
Donnie.
kids love Cherry too.
Yeah. Donnie, the appropriate response in this one is, I agree with you, honey.
You're right, babe.
I agree
You're
with
right.
you, honey.
Yeah, exactly. break a chocolate 1.5 and use it to make s'more with toaster. Lynn,
Oh man,
that is a great. I'm gonna do it
Lynn,
this week, and then I'm gonna take a picture of it.
Lynn, wait a second.
I know. That's just.
Is Lynn not the greatest book of knowledge on the world and everything else?
I know.
She is.
She's always bringing some good info.
I wish
how I am. Like,
I
know a lot of useless information. No, this is not useless.
Yeah.
This is like legit good stuff.
Well, I wish I was half as intelligent as Lynn is, honestly.
I'm with you there, my friend. Well, I'm with you there. I love that.
So, kudos, Lynn.
Great idea. Oh my God. I love it. So, just so we can reel it back. I mean, because obviously I wasn't we're not, I wasn't expected to do a full hour, but obviously we're at 40 minutes already, boys, and we're still talking here. But let's, I want to, next year, what is the number of playoff teams that we're having?
12.
So I want to go back to something here. I want to take a look. I want to show you guys what the top 12 teams would be if we were to have 12-team playoff, right? Because if we were to do a 12-team playoff, obviously we would not be talking about Florida State being out. We will be talking about LSU being out.
Oh, and I'd have something to say about that.
Right? So you got Michigan.
Patrick would be like, wait a minute.
They're better
than Oklahoma and Ole Miss.
Right. So you got right.
And I'd be clamoring for a 24-team playoff field.
Right. So Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama, Florida State, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Missouri, Penn State, Ole Miss, Oklahoma. Those will be your top 12 right there for the college playoff.
Yep.
That, man, they should have done at least, 6 team or 8 team this year because they had their shot. Yeah. ACC shot themselves in the foot, by the way, by denying the bigger playoff ranking this year, bigger playoff number this year.
Oh, man, look at that. You'd have had a 6-7 matchup of Georgia, Ohio State. Sellers
that would have been good.
Oh, man. Sellers would have been like, oh, we've got this in the bag. Because the SEC is the best one in the country, right? Number 12 is ready and ready to disappoint. Oh, man. 9-3, LSU has no reason to whine.
She's not wrong.
Just put you in your place there, sunshine.
She is, but you know what?
Shut your mouth.
If I'm being honest, she is not wrong. There were a couple games this year LSU should have won, but if they had any semblance of a defense, they would have won a couple of those. But they don't have a defense.
The head coach.
You what? Do
you still believe in your head coach?
Let me tell you this: he has a heck of a Cajun accent. He really does. Just
came out of nowhere.
I mean, man, he has such an authentic Cajun accent, and I'm waiting for someone to cringe as I'm saying this as I lie through my teeth.
It's.
Yeah. No, I still have faith in him. I mean, I think he still has to get a couple more years of bringing in his guys. I think he's building something. I just think it was very poor planning last year with the defense, and I think there's going to be a little bit more intention on trying to recruit some guys on defense because that's what they're missing.
Okay, all right. I mean, listen, I don't know. I've never been a fan of him. Be honest with you. So, we'll see what's it. Better for you.
Like him or hate him, he wins.
He does 100%. You're right. Better for you to have BK than Notre Dame.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I mean, BK's doing a better job at LSU than say Jimbo did at Texas A&M.
Boy, Jimbo got paid though.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, BK got paid too. I mean, at least he's producing 9 wins, and it's not in LSU lore. It's not good enough, but it's
look at Lynn again. Iowa has a better record than LSU, just not the ranking. The Hawkeyes are ranked. They're ranked.
Okay, so can I throw something out real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
If this year was next year, as we're kind of discussing in theory here,
yeah.
Look at the top 12 teams. Consider the conference moves that the teams that are moving to would be going to. Florida State's the only ACC team. Every other team is either SEC or Big Ten. 11 other teams are SEC, Big Ten. You tell me that's not biased anyway.
So is Washington's move effective next season to the Big Ten?
Washington and Oregon, yeah.
Yeah, so that because
and Texas, Oklahoma to SEC.
Right. But who are the 2 teams? Doesn't the Big Ten have also a couple more teams coming in 25? Or am I incorrect?
No.
Well, they got Southern Cal and UCLA moving there too.
That's right. Okay. That's what it was. So they have
and they're 25, right? They're going to be are they going to be next year too, or are they 2025?
That I don't know.
Because I thought there was 2 teams next year and then 2 teams in 25. I could be wrong.
I think it's USC, UCLA.
Okay.
Well, okay, but the point being,
no, you're right. You're right. I was just asking.
Yeah, is like, I mean, that's crazy. That's out of 12 teams, there's only 1 team that's in another conference than those 2 conferences at this point.
Guys, UCLA, and they're moving in 2024.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was asking because I wasn't sure, so forgive my ignorance.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if they changed that or if they upped that, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But then also another thing to consider, with all those teams playing within the same conference next year, are they still in this kind of position? Now that they've got to actually face each other.
Probably not.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, if they are, then we really are going to have to ask more questions, because then there is going to be just a shameless bias toward those 2 conferences.
Mm-hmm.
Because
you can almost say that now with all those teams coming in, the chances of a team. I mean, how many teams are going to go undefeated anymore? That's really going to be hard, especially
when you have these big, huge. Took the words right out of my mouth. When you have these big conferences, it's going to be really hard for a lot of big schools to really, and if you go undefeated, bro, just go all the way to the top. Let's rank you number 1 and just sit there pretty.
Well, the difference is the 1 loss and 2 loss teams are going to be more 2 loss and 3 loss teams.
But man, look at that. Michigan against Oklahoma, Washington against Ole Miss, Texas, Penn State. Yeah. Yep. Alabama, Missouri, Florida State, Oregon. And then, oh my God.
Well, and say Florida State goes 13-0 next year, I think the committee will just put them at 13.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to do that with Clemson next year. So,
and then of course,
there's the fandom.
Okay, I want to see it. And listen, and Donnie, I know you love your Clemson and everything, but and I get it. I get what they're trying to do. I get what that was trying to do. But if he doesn't play the transfer portal game, I don't know, man. Gonna get left behind, because there's a lot of players that this year have already declared themselves into the transfer portal.
Yeah. And we've actually had some that are going into the portal that are leaving.
Yeah.
Which a couple of those kind of surprised me that they're deciding to leave. But I understand. I mean, well, hey, look at DJ. DJ jumped to Oregon State, and now their coach bailed, and he's leaving Oregon State now. He's going back into the portal again.
Yep.
I'm like, really? Yep.
Because Jonathan Smith left. Any chance he ends up at Michigan State?
I got to time out because this thing is great. America needs a new baseball stadium travel show starting Lynn on the History Channel called The Seventh Lightning Stretch. I would watch.
I'd watch it too.
Yep.
I would be a subscriber of that show 100%. As a matter of fact,
Like,
I want to be part of this show.
I've been saying for a year or two now that Lynn needs to write a book. That she has some fantastic stories, amazing travels. She's done some amazing things, and every time I talk to her, or I've been around her, it's like, what?
Oh, I'm with you 100%. Listen, Lynn, as soon as you start writing a book, I want you to come on the podcast and then we'll talk about it because I want to promote the hell out of that thing. I will be the best thing there is. You should definitely do that. So,
yeah. I mean, we have both reigning fans of the year on here in Lynn and Zach. And then we have, correct me if I'm wrong, a previous winner of the Fan of the Year award in the mayor. So
100%. Yep.
So, I mean, you know, we're just surrounded by award winners.
So let me ask you this year, top 12, right? Top 12 playoff. Do you have any issues with the top 12 right now?
No.
I
not based on current records, and that's coming from an LSU fan.
No.
But I mean, you know, they don't have when you got 3 losses, it's hard to justify being in the top 12.
And you didn't play in the conference championship either, so it's like that makes it really hard.
Just rub it in, you know, because that doesn't hurt at all.
Hey, I you know, my team didn't even make the MAC championship, bro.
Yeah.
Virgil, yes, Oklahoma's in it, right? But listen, you know, and this is what we're talking about right here. I think that when the playoff format started, they made a mistake by saying we're only going to do 4 teams. They should have never been 4 teams. It should have never been 4 teams. Right. At the very least, it should have been 6 teams. At the very least.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because you could have, like, if you had 6 teams this year, you have Michigan and Washington with a bye. You got Texas. So you'd have Texas playing Georgia and Alabama playing Florida State. And whoever wins those go up against them. I mean, that would be fantastic this year.
That would have been so good. We would have not been talking right now, like most of us are saying, how Florida State got screwed out of the college football playoff.
Right.
Well, in the NCAA basketball tournament, you have playing games. Why can't you have playing games for the college football?
Ooh, playing games. Now we're talking.
Yeah, I mean, to get into the field of 64, you've got a couple playing games now. Given those are people that are on the periphery of the tournament, and it's a much bigger tournament. But can you think of the blockbuster ratings you could do for getting those playing games to reserve the right to get in? I mean, that way it's decided on the field and no one can complain. Because
oh my god, so you're telling me you would have had Texas, Alabama, Florida State, Georgia playing game? Oh my god, give me that.
Yes,
yeah,
and I know you're telling me that those fans wouldn't tune in because they can't complain that they don't get an opportunity. That it's decided on the field. So
Iowa won the top 10, Lynn. About that.
Iowa's just going to outgun everybody. That wouldn't be fair.
Listen, Iowa's defense is good though.
They are, right?
Yeah, that's what they get. That's what kept them in the game all of these the whole time.
No, I was talking about their prolific offense.
Well,
they're going to beat people. They're going to beat people like 13-10 and 9-3 and
so I didn't watch any of the Michigan game last night because I came back. I had Florida State game on, but one of the guy I'm working with up here, he's from Michigan. He's a Michigan guy, and he told me this morning, he's like, if Iowa could score points, they'd have beat Michigan yesterday. I don't know. Did y'all see enough of that game to think Iowa could have won it?
If Iowa could have won it, yes, Iowa could have won it. Yeah,
because that's coming from a Michigan guy, and I'm like, really?
Yeah,
he's like, if they had any offense, they could have beat us.
100%, 100%. I agree.
Okay, yeah, Lynn, Iowa, 402 total yards versus Rutgers. Yay, that's not Michigan.
No, it isn't. Are we all about to experience Linsanity again? Linsanity with Jeremy Lin. Yeah, again, Lynn, you're right. Listen, 402 yards against Rutgers. You're right, but it's Rutgers. You know what I mean? And then Texas. Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, do you want me to be honest with you?
Yeah.
I think Washington should be number 1.
I can see that.
That's something that I was thinking about.
Yeah.
And I mean, 2 quality wins over Oregon.
Yep. Top
And
10. Top 10.
Top 10.
Right.
You're getting the job done. I mean, I can think of only one game this year where Washington really almost lost. There may be others. I didn't follow them closely all season, but there weren't a whole lot of like.
No, they were dominant for the most part.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I think
it's
the
like,
Washington State game they may have been close too, if I remember.
Yeah, but again, that's a rivalry game, right?
Yep.
That's a rivalry game.
And the Cougars were good. And the Cougars were good this year. So
right.
There's actually something a little sad that the Pac-12 is going out with a bang. I mean, they're going away, but they're going out. The Pac-12's been basically irrelevant since Andrew Luck was at Stanford, and all of a sudden now it's like the last year of the Pac-12, they've just gone nuts.
Yeah.
Sad.
Well, now that don't count Washington out from winning this entire thing, because
no, don't count them out. I mean,
because I think Washington can handle Texas.
So
sorry, Jim.
If they handle Oregon twice, if they handle Oregon twice, I think they can definitely handle Texas.
Yeah. Honestly, it depends on what Alabama shows up. Right. I mean, and Michigan is certainly vulnerable.
I love Virgil's like what he says, like, I still don't get it why Washington was a 10-point underdog against Oregon the second time. They're getting very overlooked. And I think Washington likes it that way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, they said just let it. They're just going to keep doing their thing. It's like, let's play with the chip on our shoulder. We like it that way. That puts the pressure on the other team, because it almost looked like that they've already succeeded just by getting here. But that's not what they want. That's not what Kalen DeBoer expects. But if they were in this, they're in it to win it. And
that's how Clemson was when they won the 2 championships. It's like they were the first time nobody was giving Clemson any credit. They were just like, okay, they're good, blah blah blah. They kind of hovered there, but they were kind of like an afterthought. The second time around, they were a little more, in front with Trevor, but at the same time, it was like, well, when's Clemson going to Clemson? It's like they're going to blow it or something. Washington's kind of in that same spot.
And no one believes me when I say this, but LSU, when they had Joe Burrow, was the same way. Yeah. Everyone said, oh, they're going to, that Ohio State's going to beat them and Georgia's going to beat them and Alabama's going to beat them yet again. And they just kept playing their game and they kept beating teams. And everyone was like, Joe Burrow's not that good. And it's like, he proved he was that dude.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
so
it's going to be a fun bowl season.
Oh, I think it's still going to be a good season. Obviously, I don't know if I want to see Michigan, to be honest with you. And then we'll talk about later on in our show, Tuesday or Thursday, we're going to be talking about the bowl games, right? So it's like, who do you guys think is going to be there? Who's not going to make it and all that, right? As we go, right? Because I think there's so many bowl games, so we can talk about each bowl game as they come up, right? So, I don't want to talk about who's going to win, who's not. I just think that tonight was a night for how Florida State should have been in the playoff, how they did everything that they were supposed to do, and they were still disrespected like that.
Yeah. I got one more question for you guys.
Yeah, what's up?
Now that Washington's in the college football playoff and the University of Georgia is not, does that make the University of Washington the real dogs?
DAWGS? It's interesting to see that though, right? Mm-hmm. Georgia losing at the end, and then it's interesting how losing early in the season to compare to later in the season really affects your ranking.
Yeah. But I just had to put in that little dig at UGA because down here it's always like go dogs, and so but then University of Washington, they also call themselves the Dogs for a lot of people that don't know that.
They do, and even though they're the Washington Huskies.
Right.
Which is a dog.
Which is a dog. Yeah,
it is. But they say go Dogs up there too. I've actually been to a University of Washington game. It was
cool.
It's really awesome. Really awesome. Beautiful stadium. But anyways, so that's why I learned that they were called the Dogs, and now I get to go around saying, if I say go Dogs, am I referring to the Huskies or the Bulldogs?
Oh, you're referring to the Huskies for sure.
100%. 100%.
Well, did y'all see what Pat McAfee did with the crowd?
Oh,
did.
it was
Fantastic.
amazing.
He
Who's
got them
that
all
girl?
riled up,
Yeah.
singing the song, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, give me the Tide.
Yeah.
Give me Alabama.
Listen, I love Pat McAfee. I love watching his show. I think the guy knows exactly what he's doing. And the
Mhm.
fact that ESPN was able to get them, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a
Right
huge
now,
coup.
yeah,
Huge
home
coup.
run.
Yep.
Home run.
Well,
And
it
nobody
makes,
was able to kick the field goal, which is kind of funny.
well, yeah. Well, the big thing about getting speaking of, I know we love to talk about minor leagues. Did you guys see at halftime? Was it the there was the guy that works for the Fayetteville Woodpeckers that won the $100,000 at halftime?
No, I didn't see
No.
that. Which one?
Yeah, I
Which
forget.
game?
Which game was that? It was because the
Was-
Woodpeckers were talking about it. It was the one sponsored by Dr. Pepper.
Yes. Oh, he threw the 18 footballs.
Yes, yeah. So he works for the Fayetteville Woodpeckers.
Oh,
That's
wow.
hilarious.
Yeah. I'll have to send you guys the link.
I saw that. I saw the video.
Yeah.
Listen, we got to talk about later on about his throwing, right? Because he grabbed the ball instead of having it like this, he threw it like this, and it went all in there. I mean,
All of them do it now. Like they don't get anybody that's like athletically throwing it. They're just like shot putting it, like basketball shot, like basketball passing.
Yeah.
there it is. Big 12, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was the Big 12 game. But I thought that was interesting that
They're now the Funk Big 12.
Yeah.
Now
Sorry.
Dion's going to come in and take over the Big 12 now. The other guys are moving out. Colorado's moving in.
Are they?
The new and
He's like
improved
the
Big 12.
Jeffersons, man. He's moving on up. Dion,
Oh my God.
Dion's the new George Jefferson, man.
Boys.
So are you saying that Colorado is a prime location in the Big 12?
Oh.
Whoa.
And with that note, right? Colorado and Utah moving to Big 12, man. So technically, the Big 12's not dead. They just lost some good teams. I like Utah. I like the Utes. So we'll see how that goes. But
Well, I did see that Oregon State and Washington State are going to play like a Mountain West. They have a Mountain West tie-in for next year with everybody leaving, but they're not sure what they're going to do conference-wise. I think they're going to eventually merge those. If I was them,
the Mountain
I would
West
just,
and the Big 12.
yeah. If I was them, if I was the Mountain West, I'd be like, well, let's just be the new Pac whatever, however many teams we got,
Yeah.
Pac 12, Pac 14, whatever they
Why
got,
don't we become the Mountain 12?
or the Mountain 12. There you go.
Well, as long as they don't play in that fake
Patent
mountain
pending.
time zone, we'll be
I don't
okay.
know that. Yeah, people might get them confused and be like, that conference doesn't really exist because that time zone
Exactly,
exists.
because that time zone doesn't exist. We all know that.
True story.
Yeah,
That's very true.
it's going to be like the Bermuda Triangle, the Bermuda Triangle Conference, because they're not actually going to be there. They might disappear.
Boys, thank you for joining tonight. This was a lot of fun. Obviously, I didn't want to let it go without having to talk about this because we were going to talk about it on Tuesday. We might still talk about it on Tuesday, right? And then have to give it a couple of days. But the fact that this was such a big shocker today and how everything went down, I think it behooved us to talk about this. Mountain Pacific Athletic Conference, it goes with. That's a big name. That's too big. It's too big. We got to think about a better name for this. So, Patrick, Donnie, thank you so much for joining me, my friends. We'll be back on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Donnie, will you be back in a great state of South Carolina?
No, I fly home on Wednesday, so I'll be here Tuesday night, and then I'll be home. So Thursday night show, I'll be back in the home studio.
Oh, all right. Now here we go. So, and then Patrick, obviously you're going to be from MILB Head History Studio, correct?
That is correct. I mean, I'm not as well traveled as the mayor, so
neither am I.
yeah,
But I mean,
so
but to be honest with you, you kind of don't want to go to Ohio right now. It is a little too cold.
I mean, if you want, you can come up here and work the 10-hour days with me if you like.
I mean, I think I'm good, but I appreciate that.
It's gonna be a hard pass on that, so we'll go with that. So, all right, gentlemen, we'll see you everybody on Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. That Hat Chronicles Sports Show with these three knuckleheads. We will see you guys then.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. I hope you guys enjoy that episode. Now, again, this is just a glimpse. I wanted to show you guys what a glimpse is to listen to the Dad Hat Chronicles Sports Show. We talk all sports, okay? It's not just baseball, what this podcast is mostly about. We talk football, college football. We do some hockey. We even entertain Mike Seller sometimes when he wants to talk a little bit of tennis. We give him like 20 seconds, not really. And then that's what it's like, okay? We have fun. We have, the people that are watching also like to comment, and we show that on the screen as well. So please come and join us every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Join Donnie, Patrick, and myself on the Dad Hat Chronicles Sports Show. But before I go, guys, I want to leave you guys with a dad joke of the episode, and here it is. Why did the farmer feed money to his cow? He wanted rich milk. All right. Until then, guys, keep on grinding and always support the minor leagues. See ya.